I'm Dr. Jordin Wiggins, and this is the Pleasure Principles podcast. Join me on this journey where sex, science, and sensuality meet. Let's change the conversation around sex and pleasure together. Hello, superwomen. I have had the chance to connect with so many of you this week. Private coaching calls, feminine mentorship calls, Revive applications. And there was a theme. There was a common theme of resentment. We were some crusty superwomen this week, and rightfully so. Let's get real for a minute. Resentment and disconnection in a relationship hurts. It physically hurts to feel lonely, to feel exhausted, and it starts to affect our health. We experience feminine burnout, and this can look many different ways. I'm not going to get into it on this podcast. If you're new here, feminine burnout is a term that I coined after treating over 2,000 women in my medical practice. As a naturopathic doctor, we are trained to get to the root cause. And I knew something was going on. I knew something bigger was going on when so many women came to me experiencing anhedonia. And that is a medical term for inability to experience pleasure and joy. Not only did they have anhedonia, they had shame, where they felt like they had so much to feel grateful for, and not a lot of pleasure and joy to show for it. They just couldn't feel happy. So when we are not sleeping through the night, when we have unexplained medical conditions, unexplained by conventional medicine, explained by feminine burnout, we start to see these manifestations not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally. We're exhausted, we're borderline anxious, depressed, we have sexual dysfunction. So today we're going to talk about the resentment side of things, how the mental, emotional is definitely going to impact us physically and relationally. It's all connected. I want you to think back to when you were younger in school and we had to do group projects. What would you do if your partner didn't pull their weight? What would you do? You would probably step in and take over. You would overfunction to get it done. I remember doing that, and I remember the moment that I stopped, and it was so liberating. So I know you were there, overfunctioning with the group projects, just like I was, and really not much has changed, if we're honest, in our work, parenting, romantic relationships. Actually, let me take that back. We've probably changed it a little bit at work. We're better at setting boundaries at work, asking for help, receiving support, but the good girl conditioning runs deep. So resentment. Let me give you a couple examples. And these were from other high achieving, overgiving, people pleasing women just like you on our calls. These are things they said. I only see changes when I'm done and ready to walk away. Then things slide back. I deserve better. I'm not a personal assistant. He doesn't do any personal development work. And there was something that I could hear in all of these women's voices. And I've been here. I understand how much it hurts, how lonely it is. And I had to do the work of taking a hard look at what I was contributing to this dynamic. So when we're resentful, we are shut down emotionally, physically, definitely, intimately, or we can have hyper arousal, we can have the high drive, looking for that connection, looking for that intimacy, emotional intimacy that we are not getting elsewhere. So we're seeking it through sex. It's typically a more masculine, more yang trait, but I do see it in several superwomen. But this resentment, when we are resentful, Our communication is like broken glass. It cuts the other person. And you hear those women that say like pass the water, but it actually sounds like I hope you get hit by a bus. Like that's what their energy is saying. They're in a stuck dynamic. So I was on a call with one of the women in the feminine mentorship, and peak resentment moment in her marriage. 3 young kids, runs a big company, has a big event coming up, so work stress is high. She asked her partner to stop and pick up something at the drugstore earlier in the day, and later on in the day, on his way home, he called to ask for clarification on sizing, type, whatever. This, when it's that one more thing that's going to set you off over the edge, and we've been there. Let's be honest, we have all been there. This crushed her. She went into rage, anger, like, how can he not know? How do I have to carry this invisible workload? Why can't he ask someone? Why can't he write down what I said? And we've all been there. We have all been there. And the interesting part about this is that weeks before, when she was doing the feminine practices, probably we were hitting a hormonal upswing too. He was making the effort. He was doing extras for her. They were so connected and they had great sex for the first time in a really long time. So they had this moment of connection, this so they could see what it could be, and then it regressed, and then it fell into an old pattern. So she's on the call with me explaining how, unsupported, how alone she feels, how resentful she feels. Get it. And I'm sure her husband doesn't feel great either. We're going to go back to this example after, because if this is you, I need you to head to the link in the show notes and apply to Revive. 5-week private coaching program for high achieving women looking to heal their relationship dynamic. This is for you if you've tried everything and nothing has gotten through to your partner. This is for you if my work on receiving capacity, feminine burnout speaks to you. If you're over functioning for an under functioning partner, if you're constantly picking up the balls that other people drop, you want your needs met without having to constantly remind, ask, nag, yell, cry. If you can't live like this anymore and you are ready to put in the work, like you are ready to see a significant change, I am going to teach you my unique approach to healing resentment in this 5-week private coaching. That means you and I together, private coaching calls, you get a workbook. And if you want to feel more energized, like you have more time for yourself, like you are seen, supported, and connected to your partner, if you want to go from resentment to feeling connected, revived, personally and in your relationship, this program is for you. If you've tried all the things, books, podcasts, couples therapy, this is more than a way of communicating. It's a way of operating, an energetic way of being. And it is so much deeper than the surface communication, than the first layer of healing that we all try and do, but we are not satisfied with. That will not work in a superwoman relationship. The basics will not work. You've tried it, it doesn't work. That's why you are where you are. So this is by application only. I have 3 spots left at the time that I am recording this. And if you want to go from resentful to revived, you feel lighter, you feel more energized, you feel supported, seen, you have more time for yourself and your pleasure. 5 weeks. Superwomen, 5 weeks. Let's do this. Do not wait. I will probably, this is new. I've never tried this before, and I don't know when I'm going to do it again. And you've never been able to access me in this way. It's normally 3 months, 10K minimum. Also, because it's new, I'm trying it out. You're getting it at a very, very good price to work with me privately. So if you've been listening and this has been speaking to you and you are ready to feel significantly more energized, grounded, safe, Don't wait. Apply. Head to the link in the show notes and apply. There's a dove outside my window, like literally inches away from me. Okay, so on resentment, we're going to talk about the layers of resentment. We're going to talk about conversation starters when you feel resentful. And we're going to talk about healing the deeper dynamics that are at play here. And I wanted to give you a note. I'm not talking about abusive relationships. Been there. We can handle that and support that and get you the support that you need. But there is never enough that you can give, say, do, heal to fix an abusive person. There is no way that you can make them feel safe enough to do their work. I have pretzeled myself. I have spent more than 6 figures, like sad to admit, but it won't work. And there are many reasons why women choose to stay in abusive relationships. I get it. I see you. I just want to be clear because I think we read things on attachment and on love languages, and we like to excuse everything from subtle abuse to toxic relationships to full-on abusive relationships by these paradigms and frameworks, and it actually doesn't apply. But if you want some help from somebody that has walked in those shoes, that has a medical degree, that isn't just, 28 and I figured something out for myself. So now I have a big Instagram following, but I've actually walked this walk, had the education and the receipts of helping over 2,000 women, then I'm your girl. And you probably want to talk about working with me one-on-one, and we will put the link to that in the show notes. This is 3 months. This is completely custom. We are focusing on you, and this is when you have nothing left to lose. When your health isn't getting any better, when things in your relationship are not getting any better, and if something doesn't change, you know something has to give. You've got nothing left in the tank. You are at a critical point. And it doesn't even have to mean an abusive relationship, but if you are just done and you're ready to make the investment and do the work, my 3-month one-on-one private coaching is right for you. Layers of resentment. The first is tasks. So we can overfunction by doing something that someone else can do for themselves. We are picking up the slack with tasks. So household tasks, family management tasks, like the kids need gymnastics and hockey. Who is planning all of that stuff? The doctor's appointments. The second layer of resentment. So we can do it with tasks, we can do it emotionally. And I usually refer to this as overgiving, because to me, overgiving is like we're giving up ourselves. We're trying to manage our emotions and theirs. We are very aware. We take the temperature of what they might be feeling. And you probably did this for a parent. You probably had to caregive for a parent. You were raised in a narcissistic family system. Maybe your parents had addiction, mental health problems. Maybe they worked a lot. They weren't present, but we were focusing on them. We were focusing external. We were not focused internal on our feelings. And plus, just feeling is weak, right? Men can't feel, women can't feel. We were stuck. We were doomed by the patriarchy from the very beginning. And gut check moment, trigger warning moment, a big portion of this is that a part of us is caring for others and overgiving for others so that we don't have to look inward, so that we do not have to face our own emotions and feelings. And we are with someone that can't do it. Go figure. There's such a fine line between empathy and codependency. And superwomen are very, very empathetic. I remember the first time that I was told I was codependent by Rainier Wild. I was stunned, shocked. My initial reaction was like resistance. I make my own money. I don't need a man. I had my superwoman cape on, my walls up. I learned about codependency in medical school. It's for wives of alcoholics and gamblers. And Thank you, Rainier. Love you. That deep, deep self reflection, the radical honesty that had to come from that. I've yet to find a superwoman that is not codependent. Many of us are in relationship with recovered addicts, people with personality disorders, because we are a match and because our brand of codependency looks a little different. Not many people. When I told you about the 100 grand that I spent trying to fix a toxic, abusive relationship, 2 out of probably about 8 professionals saw it for what it was. And that's scary. And it's scary that there is a number of us in pain with resentment, in pain with loneliness, so unfulfilled and our needs aren't being met. And the action that we're taking isn't getting us anywhere because you need somebody that can see the dynamic for what it is. The third layer of resentment is relationally. Superwomen, we are the temperature takers. We check on the intimacy. We check on when was the last time we had sex. Sometimes that's our men pointing it out. They'll temperature take on the sex thing a lot. But when was the last time we had a date? When did we have quality time together? There we go with the dreaded love languages, the things that keep us in our head, not in our bodies. And I have episode 124 of the Pleasure Principles podcast, the myth of love languages and the energetics of lingerie, if you want to hear more of a rant on that. So we have the layers of resentment: tasks, emotional, relational. How many of you are there? Overgiving, like doing extra tasks, emotionally caregiving for your partner, doing things that won't upset them so that they don't have to feel, and relationally, where we're temperature taking, where we are pointing out when things are wrong, where we are like when our focus is constantly external, this is a losing dynamic. And this is the thing that people aren't telling you. So the less they do, the more high achiever you naturally take on. Remember the projects in grade school? And I hear this all the time. Well, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? You give more than you receive. Resentment builds. The walls go up around your heart and your pussy. And we go into fix mode. How do I fix this so I don't have to feel uncomfortable? We use our logical superwoman brains, which gets us a lot of success in business, and it makes us terrible at intimacy, connection, the passion, the desire that we so deeply seek, because we're doing all the doing, but we really desire to be cared for. We really desire to not have to nag, yell, scream, cajole, withhold. Let's go back to the drugstore example. So there's a few things wrong here, in my opinion, and this is surface for the purposes of this podcast, but I just want you to see that there is accountability on both sides. But this podcast is for the superwoman side. So on his side, he is abdicating his leadership. He is putting himself in a submissive role that his wife has to caretake for him. And it's not sexy. It doesn't feel good on either side of this. Like, you don't want to make love, rip the pants off of somebody that you are caregiving for. Maybe a select portion of the population does. And get it, girl? Not here to yuck your yum at all. But for the most of us, caregiving is not sexy. So he should know that she is at a very stressful point with a lot going on with work. Her job affords them a good lifestyle, and he should know the sizes of things or be able to ask someone or figure it out without putting it back on her. He should be able to complete a task without start to finish, right? Like, he has the capabilities. But also, it's the dynamic that has been set up because superwomen, let's be honest, would we be critical if they brought home the same thing, the wrong thing? Excuse me? Of course we would. And they're scared to get it wrong because they don't want to upset us. And then everyone's walking on eggshells, and it is just a clusterfuck of resentment. So he has abdicated his leadership to her. Mistake. She is emotionally caregiving and rescuing for him. Mistake. What can we start to do to change this? Because when we are resentful and we just have all of this built up resentment from things that we have swept under the rug for years and years and years, we need to take a hard look and air that shit out. We need to heal that first before we can restore connection. I'm going to give you some conversation starters to start having these conversations. And is it time in the moment to have these conversations when things are heated and people are feeling very charged? No, we're not going to get anywhere when people are in fight or flight. And superwomen with feminine burnout, you are there a lot. We are dysregulated a lot. So nothing is going well. It is costing you creatively, monetarily, and your health to continue to live like this. Conversation starters. So, something that you could say in these cases: when you don't follow through on what you say you're going to do, I feel hurt. And leave it. Shut your mouth. We are great at over explaining, and that is a trauma response for another episode. Another suggestion: when blank happened, so when you called me from the drugstore, I felt disappointed and unimportant. Blank is something that's important to me, and you keep overlooking it, and it keeps getting overlooked. I feel let down. Another one: I was listening to the latest episode of the Pleasure Principles podcast, and it got me thinking. I want to share something with you, but I wanted to ask you first. What is something important to you that I keep missing? And look, there's some qualifiers in there. I work on direct, vulnerable, honest conversation that makes us feel seen, heard, and supported. But I also know that a lot of you haven't done the work to be able to get there, and you might need some qualifiers. So that is the fourth example. And I'm going to tell you what happens because I've seen this play out over and over and over. It's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be a rupture. It's like when you're baking and you put the mixer in, but you don't put it all the way in, and flour goes everywhere, all over the room. Rupture, fight, talk about everything you've ever done wrong and things from 10 years ago that have not been healed and released, and all the built up resentment is coming out. The second thing that's going to happen is breadcrumbing. He's going to change for a little while, and then things are going to go right back. You are in the temperature taking cycle, like where you're checking. Is he still going to do it? I don't think he's going to continue to do it. And you end up back where you started, making the same excuses to continue living in this discomfort. It's going to be better when he gets the promotion. Oh, if I ask this way, maybe I should just leave. So here's the truth. To do the deeper work, we focus on you, because this is bigger than a communication problem. This is bigger than who's right, who's wrong, who should be, like how we're dividing tasks. Let's have one date night per week. Like, that is not the shit that is going to relax you, open you, and let you receive a level of pleasure that is foreign. So we stop being a temperature taker and we start living our own juicy, energized, fulfilled lives. We will feel so much lighter. In the drugstore example, is she right? Yes. Is he capable? Yes. And is that the point? Do we want to be right? Do we want to be stuck in blame? Or do we want to focus on our side of the street so we can have the fulfilled, energized, connected relationship that that couple had a glimpse of just within 2 months of working with me? They had a glimpse of what is possible when we focus on the right things. And this is a multi-layer problem. This is a multi-generational problem. It's a family system problem. And that is why focusing on one thing, oh, I'm going to get my nutrition sorted and work with a personal trainer and my health is going to improve a little bit. But when you're in a relationship with this much toxic resentment, it's only going to move the needle a little. So let you in on a secret, superwoman. We are driven by avoiding rejection. We are overachieving, overgiving, overfunctioning, performing because a part of us is addicted to the success. It makes us feel worthy. It makes us feel needed. As I said earlier, it stops us from doing the deeper work. If we're focusing on others, if we're taking the temperature of the room, which is what we've been trained to do, but it doesn't let us go in and figure out our own feelings. We're bitter, resentful. And the truth is, it doesn't allow anyone to ever fully love us. So we can blame others for this. How dare he do this? How dare he forget that? How dare he not plan the date nights? But we, over at the Pleasure Collective, we are brave. We are radically honest. We take radical responsibility about, oh shit, I've tolerated this for a really long time. I work myself until I'm sick. I'm driven to achievement and caring for others to avoid feeling, to avoid receiving love. Actually, like my receiving capacity is shit. And if you listen to episode 128 of the Pleasure Principles podcast, how high or low is your receiving capacity? You will see what I mean. So you have a choice, Superwoman. Stay stuck in the rejection, stay stuck in the confrontation, blame our partners, stay stuck in this same cycle of resentment and disconnection. But this is only going to change when you are ready to take radical responsibility for your pleasure. When you admit that you're addicted to it being hard, you're addicted to the overwhelm, to the overworking. Our receiving capacity is so low that you're a hungry ghost, Superwoman. No one could do anything to fill your tank enough at this point because your pleasure tank has holes in it. So your receiving capacity is low. You are an expert at numbing yourself so you don't feel by overworking, by having things. But the feelings are the work. Allowing yourself to feel immense amounts of pleasure also means allowing yourself to feel immense amounts of pain. And for some of you, sadly, you're going to wait until your pleasure tank is so empty or your health is so bad that you have no other choice but to deal with it. And it is easier to do when the whole house is not on fire. But I know us, we can tolerate like nobody's business. But if you are ready to go from resentment to receiving, now's the time. Don't wait. Head to the link in the show notes and apply for Revive. I have 3 spots left, and or apply for one-on-one coaching with me. And we can get on a call and we can chat about what is best for you. And I am truthfully very selective about the people that I work with because I know who and what relational dynamics, what stuck dynamics, the mindset of a superwoman. I know what works. I know how hard you've worked. I know how far you've come. And I know how awful it feels to feel like you're feeling. So if you are sick of that, head to the show notes and apply. No more resentful people over here at the Pleasure Collective. Have a great week, everybody. If you like what you heard in this episode, leave me a rating. Your support helps me get discovered by more women like you. Together, we can change the conversation around women's sexual health and pleasure for you, your partners, and generations to come.